sky, your spirit is one with me. Your wings stand by the ocean. Your eyes see everything. Of your motion can make the continents ring. Yet in all your might and glory, vanished from the skies, leaving just another story. It's the man-made life. They tell how you fell from the sky.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Free American Hour. I'm your host, Clay Douglas. And my guest today is Jeff Bennett. Jeff has been in the gold business and the broadcasting business probably as long or longer than I have. Welcome, Jeff Bennett.
Well, good morning, and thank you for the invite.
Well, I appreciate you getting up this early in the morning, you know, and Now, keep in mind that some of my guests have been approached by, Homeland Security or FBI, flashing FBI badges, saying, why are you going on the Clay Douglas show? And, you know, you've known me for a long time. He said, well, I've known him for years, and why wouldn't I go on this show? And they said,
my message to those guys, if they're listening this morning, is good morning. Go get a cup of coffee. Maybe you'll learn something.
Yeah, sit down. I've always invited you. I hope you come into my lectures, man. You know, we both took the same oath, you know, to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I don't recall there being an expiration date on that.
No, neither do I.
And you've been doing this for some time, Jeff.
Been on the air for 16 years and been a metals broker for 20 years. And prior to that, I've been an owner of the stuff. I started buying it when I was 10, so I'll be 64 in a few months. I've got a few years behind me with this stuff.
Well, you know, a mutual friend of ours, John Trockman, he started the militia in Montana and really did a lot, I think, to educate people back during the preparedness expos. And he just kind of dropped out. And I said, why? Why? He said, you know, Clay, we tried to tell him what was going on. We tried to tell him what NAFTA was going to be, what GATT was all about. We tried to tell them about what FEMA was going to become, and they wouldn't listen to us. They wouldn't listen.
Well, it got to that point, and I think it's interesting you bring up NAFTA, because I think that your audience needs to remember of the various characters that are attempting to become the presidential candidate for the Republican Party. Newt Gingrich had a real heavy hand in bringing NAFTA to the table and getting it done, and people better remember that about Gingrich.
During the 1996 campaign, when Charles Collins was trying to point out to the Republicans we could buy back the Federal Reserve according to their rules for $500 million, wipe out a $6 trillion debt, which is now something like $14 trillion, and every television camera on stage would cut off and point at the ground.
Yep.
And I went up to McCain and I said, why are you stumping for Phil Gramm from Florida there? He supported NAFTA and GATT. I don't care if all the factories are moved to Mexico. My son's an engineer.
That's interesting. You never hear about his son. You hear about his lovely daughter.
Yes.
Oh, man. We've come a long way in these years, and it's to some degree it's interesting for us to watch, to listen. The number of people that are beginning to seriously start to ask questions appear to be getting more involved. I don't think it's enough. I think it's too little too late. Personally, not to be a pessimist, but I call myself a realist. And I think you would tend to agree. We can fight and fight and fight, and we win some little battles. When do we finally win the war? It's going to be interesting to watch. I broke down and broke a cardinal rule last week as I watched the debates, and they were relatively laughable to me. That'll upset some people.
They never talk about the real things. They don't talk about our right to farm, our right to grow our own food. They don't talk about the executive orders that Obama's passed. Say, oh, well, there's tremendous we've just discovered that there's tremendous economic potential in the rural communities, the flyover communities. We just discovered there's tremendous economic opportunity there. So we're going to make a council to regulate it. They're going to try to make the farms into 501c3 corporations like churches, so they can control what they grow and what they say, and isn't that what they've been trying to do for the last 100 years?
Yeah, or more.
And they're poisonous, Jeff. I mean, this is it's starting to really dawn on people that these pharmaceuticals and the genetically modified foods and the chemtrails are all designed to make us sick, because the medical industrial complex don't make any money off of us if we're well, do they?
No, they don't. But then, let's face it, we're not a well nation.